Let's continue here on Radio Boss. We're joined by a young lady, as a matter of fact, and you've seen her in movies such as Gone Girl and American Made. She's got a new album that's coming out, as a matter of fact, April 29th, Lady for Sale. She also plays the role of Karen West in the HBO series Winning Season. She is Lola Kirke. She joins us here on Radio Boss. Lola, welcome to the program.
Why, thank you, Donald. So nice to be here.
Absolutely. So how much are you a sports fan? How much did you know about the Lakers prior to this role?
Not much. Not gonna lie. I have never been to a Lakers game, which I would love to change because it looks like it's a lot of fun. And I was kind of surprised to get this role. I was actually in the studio making the record Lady for Sale when I got a call from my agent that was like, you have an offer to be in this TV show that I hadn't even heard about. And I was like, oh, that's really, really nice, because it had been a while since I'd worked, like due to the pandemic and all of that. And so I was really excited, even though I didn't really know that much about the Lakers, but they are fascinating. And I read the book, Showtime, that the series is based on.
Right.
And even without any knowledge or passion for basketball, I definitely found myself very intrigued by the whole thing. It was very fun.
You've got something going on there in the background.
I do. I'm on Sunset Boulevard right now. And even though I'm 12 stories up, it's still loud AF, as I like to say.
I know we were talking a little bit before we got started, and like LA, like I was telling you, I realize now, like LA probably, especially for a family, right, of like 5 with 3 children, probably isn't the place to go. It's very expensive. But we had like a great time. Sunset. Well, I think we made it to Sunset. We were all up and down the Pacific Highway. We went to Long Beach. We went to we went to Hollywood. You must love, as Randy Newman said, do you love LA?
No, I hate LA, honestly. And I'm never, ever here. I'm just here for work right now.
Okay.
I live in Nashville.
Okay.
I don't hate LA. That's too strong of a word. I find myself very stressed out by LA.
Okay.
And I do kind of have a lot of love for the history of Los Angeles. And I think it's been really fun getting to be on a show like Winning Time and see that and get to pretend in a way that we're back where I think it was really interesting.
Yeah, no question. You mentioned it may be fun to go see a Lakers game, and I'm gonna tell you what, Lola, I don't know about right now. Like the Lakers
they're not doing so well.
Yeah, back in the day, like with Magic Johnson and the Showtime Lakers, which I know you know a lot about now because of the role you're playing. I mean, yeah, those were probably some really, really good times.
Right. And R.I.P. Kobe. Very, very sad.
I know.
I even felt that one, even though I wasn't, very invested in the team. That was a horrible, horrible story. So
yeah, no question. Been a little more than 2 years now. Lola Kirke joins us here on the program. So how did you prepare for this role of Karen West, who is the husband of the legendary Jerry West? How did you go about preparing for this role?
Well, I read his memoir, Jerry West memoir, which is called, I think it's called It's West by West, A Charmed and Tortured Life. He's a very interesting man, and I watched the few videos that I could find that feature her. She's kind of unsung, and it's a smaller role in the series. But he's played by the wonderful Jason Clarke, who's so fun to work with. And I think you just kind of, when you're playing a real person, gather as much information as you can about who they are and then try and make it your own.
Yeah. How much, are you now, having filmed it, and I'm assuming you all have finished filming, at this point, do you watch it? Are you enjoying it?
I haven't been able to watch it. I've been on tour, actually. for the past month or so. So I haven't had access to HBO. I also forgot my laptop charger. So I'm like, every time I see someone in my band with like a laptop charger, I'm like, can I borrow that for a little bit? And they're like, fine. So we're hanging on by a thread here on this interview, really, but I got 19%. But yes, I hope to watch it when I get back home.
No question about it. So tell us about the album Lady for Sale. So first of all, like, and we'll talk a little bit more about the music. Like I had a chance to watch one of the videos. I want to talk with you a little bit more about that. But what's the impetus, if you will, behind the album? How did you come up with the name? All of those kind of good things.
Yeah, well, I was talking a little bit earlier about that period of time when I like wasn't really working that much after the pandemic, and I wasn't really having much luck getting traction with my demos that I was making for the record. And the record is largely about falling in love, but there's one song on the record called Lady for Sale, which is just about the kind of perils of seeking out a life in the arts and what it is, what at what cost success in the arts comes at. And I thought the title just sounded so flashy and fun, and that kind of is aligned with a lot of the sounds on the record. So even though it was a kind of thematic outlier on the record, we chose to make that the title track.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you what, the video, Better Than Any Drug, was a dope video. And the song was because one of the best eras to me in music history is the 80s. And it had the 80s vibe.
Yeah, we were really inspired by that Madonna documentary. I forget which one. I forget the name of it right now, but it's a tour documentary that's all shot in black and white. And yeah, that song definitely has a Madonna reference for sure. And yeah, I think that the 80s are such an exciting time in music. I've always loved more 60s and 70s music, but I've really kind of grown into the 80s. The more mature records of artists like Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell are really fun for me to listen to, but also the kind of newer records of artists like Madonna and a lot of 80s country. It's like everybody was just kind of dealing with excess in a really fun way. And I feel like people were making songs that just had 1,000 instruments and sounds in them. And we were just bored at home during the pandemic when we were writing these songs. So it was like, why not throw another instrument on that song?
Yeah, but that's interesting because that's exactly what the video, the vibe, it reminded me exactly of Madonna.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really fun being an artist at this point in time. You can't help but be referential because you are part of a lineage. And so I've really enjoyed kind of paying homage to artists that I find really inspiring quite directly. Yeah, so I'm glad that came across.
Absolutely. Lola Kirke joins us here on the program. Again, the album Lady for Sale is available on April the 29th. You mentioned touring. How is the tour coming along?
Oh, it's been so fun. We've been opening up for Elle King, who has I think she has a #1 right now with Miranda Lambert on country radio called Drunk. And a lot of her fans have been quite drunk. So they've been very nice. And it's been a pleasure to be opening for her.
Yeah. So I take it you're excited about being back because, like you mentioned, the pandemic, I guess it kind of slowed you down with your music anyway, but I'm sure you're excited to kind of be back on tour. Like I've seen some of your Instagram posts and being back. I mean, you just seem really excited to kind of be back out there.
Yeah, I am. It's been so much fun getting to play all these different cities I've never played in before for very, very excited crowds, and just to share in some of the fan base that Elle has developed and hopefully, meet some fans of my own.
Couple of more thoughts with Lola Kirke here on the program. So your father, Simon Kirke, right?
Yes.
Free and Bad Company. I mean, you just grew up with him, if you will, in terms of the music. And I'm assuming because of that, that's how you got into the music.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was certainly encouraging, and we would listen to music every morning on my way to school. He drove me to school every day, which was very, very sweet when he wasn't on the road. And yeah, he was certainly encouraging, and I think I kind of surprised him with some of my tastes later on. Like I would be listening to music. He was like, I never heard of that. Like the Chocolate Watch Band was a band I really liked. They were like some weird psychedelic 60s band. And like, it was kind of fun to have his knowledge as a jumping off point, but then to like surpass his knowledge in some way. I just was so jealous of him though. I mean, he got to be around in some of the best times for music. So yeah.
He did. And you know, you talk about, you know, Free and Bad Company. I mean, that's pretty good. Getting back to relatives, like, so, and back to acting. So Untogether was one of your films, and you got to play that with your sister, and you all actually played the role of sisters in that film.
Yeah, we did. It was wild to get to work with her. It's also been fun. Jemima's directed a couple music videos of mine as well. She did a great music video for Not Used, which was off of my first EP, and then a really fun music video for Mama, which was off of another EP that I released. So it's been great to collaborate with her when it's felt right.
Yeah, so let me take you back. Gone Girl, right? Like Gone Girl was big, and you had a part in that. Speak to that. I mean, I don't guess that was your first film, but I mean, the film was him.
My second film, but it was the first film that came out. I had done a Noah Baumbach movie that he had co-written with Greta Gerwig that had been shot in 2013, but just got kind of backburnered for a while. And Gone Girl came out first, and it was quite the introduction into that world. And that was such a fun role and such a dream to work with David Fincher. Yeah, I really liked that character I got to play. I certainly have been able to play some very quirky people in my career.
So what's next for you?
There is a TV show that I'm working on right now called Three Women that's on Showtime. It's based off the book of the same title. I'm not sure when that will come out. And then there's a couple film projects that are coming into being, and hopefully some more touring in the UK and the EU with my record.
No question about it, which is due out on April the 29th. Lady for Sale by, of course, Lola Kirke. And Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, airs each Sunday at 9 p.m.
Yes.
8 Eastern, or 9 p.m. 8 Central on HBO. You guys got to check it out as Lola Kirke joins us here on Radio Boss. Lola, great to catch up with you. Continued success in all you do.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Absolutely.